Welcome to Live Unashamed, where we pause the show and invite members of our team to talk vulnerably about their own recovery, things they're learning, the resources that are actually working, and what it truly means to live unashamed. Rock, paper, scissors, Chris. Tournament. I'm going to beat both of you right now. Best out of one. Are we going on shoot?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, shoot. Yep.
Got him.
Suck.
Come at me, James. On shoot.
Well, we tied. There you go.
On shoot. Got him. Undefeated.
1 out of 1.
How well do you think? Oh, Jared's back there. Let's go. Title match. Oh, he knew us won the paper. Jared, the people's champ, baby. That's why we call him the general. So one thing to not do on a podcast, play rock, paper, scissors. But it's on the YouTube channel. So we invite you to go to the YouTube channel, Unashamed and Afraid, and you can witness.
It's Unashamed and Unafraid podcast.
Unashamed and Afraid podcast. Moral of the story is, witness, I did actually beat James and Chris. That was not made up.
True story, bro.
We were not just clapping hands.
Right. Maybe that could even be on the Instagram reel or something.
Your mom's Instagram reel.
So
I'm on fire right now. I should be in the middle.
So
we roast Chris when he's in the middle. Maybe we should switch.
Paper beats
Well,
rock.
I have a feeling it's coming, Chris.
Never.
So, talking about what we're talking about today, like, Chris has got to be in the middle.
Totally.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because in this hierarchy of what's beat what,
Right. Chris wins.
because nature beats addiction, and no one knows that more than our friend Chris Bennett.
Oh, I love nature. It's so awesome.
You took this picture.
That's me. Yep.
So get on the YouTube thing. So he took this. Chris takes you take all these nature pictures,
Yeah. Like I just went to Hawaii
and
last
they're like
week, and
good. Like he could sell these as stock image good.
numerous people are like thousands of people reach out to me and they're like, "Are you selling your stuff?" So I need to like actually sell it. That would be good
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
because I think they're pretty good, and that's why I like them. But it just does something for my heart. It makes me feel alive. It helps me capture those moments of feeling alive when I step out into the mountains. And something that I tell all my coaching clients is, hey, when you step into your aliveness, everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but why do I have to go outside? I'm not talking about being a basement dweller. I get that. Like, you know, when they have people in the hospital for too long and like they don't see daylight, it gets all weird, right?
Yeah.
Or like people in Alaska with the depression, right? Like,
But I'm a normal dude, Chris. I go outside and hop in my car and drive to work, and then, you know.
I watch in nature. I've seen Discovery
Yeah.
Channel before.
Yeah, you know, I go on a walk around the block with my wife every now and then and mow my lawn or pay somebody to mow my lawn and watch them do it sometimes, or, you know, like, so.
But when you're there, what do you feel? When you're outside, even if it's for 10 minutes, what does it do for your mindset?
I'm just asking rhetorically because I actually love the outdoors. I'm a big fan.
Right.
So
But
I
that's
love
what
it.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like if you
Well, we all
it
know who the
invigorates
loser
me.
in is at this category. That's why I said I should be in the middle and get roasted. Who's the
Yeah.
loser here?
that would be Steve-O.
That would be
That would
Steve.
be me by a freaking mile.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't get it.
Yeah.
I just suck at it.
Yeah.
And it is just something. I mean, there's even a book called The 3-Day Effect where it talks about just spending 3 days outside in nature, whether it's a trip, hiking trip, or out kayaking, whatever it is, just being outside for the 3 days, and it helps reset the mindset. They actually brought out and measured the amount of stress that people carry in their body. So it's
I
a
believe that.
scientific fact that
Right.
nature reduces the stress.
It
So if
shifts people's minds and bodies.
Right.
Yeah,
And so if you think
I would
of
believe that.
downtown New York, what is in the middle of downtown New York?
Right. You got Central Park.
Central Park. Why? That's prime real estate. They could build other buildings. But they don't because people need a place,
The city would die.
serenity.
Yeah.
They just need to have a place for them to find that peace and calmness in all the businesses of life and be able to just reset, even if it's 10 minutes walking outside. Just being able to have that moment to, I mean, think about it. Even if you're struggling with temptations, for me, I could even get up and just go take a walk for just a few minutes, and it helps me reset my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So why though?
Because it allows me to be able to connect with self and allows me to be able to connect with God.
But what about, like, so why can't I get up and just walk around this room? What about physically going from inside to out there? Like, what is it about out there?
For me, it's the fresh air and the
It's
Oh, I
everything. It's the change of the scenery. It's the fresh air.
it's the beauty
the green.
that surrounds you.
It's the mountains. It's the snow on the mountains.
Now, some people don't live around mountains,
Sure.
right?
But I'm just talking about from here, right?
Yeah.
Just me here. But it's like, when I was working through my depression, like a big
That is what saved your heart.
aspect of that was I regularly went just to the mountains near a stream, where I could put my hands in the cold water. Where I could look at the trees, or look at the rocks, or look at the dirt, and like I got back in touch with my body, and it gave me room to just, for whatever reason, when I, if I was ruminating and kind of downward spiraling, it gave me some space to kind of get out of that when I got into nature. Like it just did something. So when you're like, why? I'm just like, I couldn't even tell you exactly why.
It just is.
It just is. It's like a fact.
Well, I think one thing that that has come up for me is I think about like filters and how stuff gets like less real or less authentic.
Mm.
So think about like when we Photoshop crap, right? So, I take a picture of me, and that is actually how I looked on Tuesday afternoon. But then we put some makeup on it because I've got some blemishes on my face.
You soften it.
Right. And then we adjust the lighting, and then we take the picture, and then in Photoshop we adjust it, right? And then we put it online. Is that a picture of me? Yes. How authentic or accurate is it after passing through all of those filters? So when you're online looking at that picture of me, how close are you to the realest, most authentic version of me? I'd say all of those layers put you further away from me. So think about, like, we're sitting in this building right now. This is a bunch of physical material. We're in a physical space that's made from nature stuff, right? Well, it's like go out to nature to be with the trees. I'm like, this room's surrounded by trees. There's a bunch of 2x4s lodged all up in here.
Right.
Be out there with the rocks. All the drywalls, a bunch of crushed rock, right? Like with the feeling sensation. Well, look, I can feel this wood table, right? But look at how many steps away from its organic, authentic state. This table has been through a lot of processing than if I literally walk out here looking at the tree in our parking lot. It's a different piece of wood. Because we do it with food, right? What's the worst food? The most processed food. It's the least healthy for you. So I guess it would, this is kind of anecdotal, so everyone can write me some hate mail and be like, you're an idiot, bro. And it's fine. But it's a less processed experience of the world that God created. Less processed by man's hands.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's why I said you can find God in nature. Is because that is his hand at work. Mm-hmm. That is what he gave us. And depending on how you look at it, like to some people that's like, oh, it's just a beautiful sunset and it's a beautiful sunrise. And for me, it's totally different. Like this picture right here is an absolute love note for me because he gave this to me and he's like, hey, I love you, I see you, and I hear you. Right. And I want you to know that. And that's how he speaks to my heart. And so when I go up hiking, I hike over 400 miles a year. And so whenever as soon as my feet hit the dirt, I can forget about all the crap that I'm dealing with, all the struggles that I'm dealing with, or I can also have my mind clear enough so that I can process the emotion that I'm dealing with, so that I can manage dealing with bigger decisions that I need to make so that I can be like, you know what? I got some big decisions to make, and I'm going to make it in the mountains because that's where I can find my connection with self. I can find my connection with God, and I can process that emotion as I need to.
I think it pulls you to your authenticity, right?
Totally.
So my wife and I did a little hike nearby not long ago, and it's been a while since I'd kind of gone on a walk, We hit winter, so it kind of gets cold, and I was in, so it'd probably been 5 months, since I'd gone, and went on this hike, and as I'm walking, I'm just noticing like, oh my goodness, my brain is so quiet right now.
Yeah.
It is so quiet right now. And I was just like, oh yeah.
And how do we find God?
I kind of forgot about that, and so just being in the quiet, like my brain didn't feel like it needed to race. It didn't need to, it was just quiet. And I just got to watch my feet take one step in front of the other and just observe what's around me. And my brain just wasn't racing. It wasn't trying to figure something out. I was just, it felt awesome. I'm like, oh yeah, this feels really good.
And I think there's some ways to do. I had a cool experience. Shout out to my buddy Preston Miller. He invited me to go up on his boat one morning. You remember this? I think I talked to you
totally.
about it too.
Yeah.
This was because I feel like in the last year I haven't done. I've really stepped in to do some things to do some self care. So this isn't me trying to be like I'm a martyr. Not trying to be like that. Well, you know what that is. That it's like I just work so hard.
Sure.
So many people. You don't know how hard it is to. You don't know how hard it is to be the host of Unashamed Paper and the burden that I carry. For like, dude,
as
shut
we're
up.
recording till midnight.
I know. So, but you know what I mean. I'm like, whatever. We all got my problems. You got. It's all the same for all of us. No one's better than anybody else. It was like this choice because he's asked me like 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, in the middle of a work day, Gobi's like, just come up, whatever. And I remember.
Right.
I'm like, I'm just going to make the choice.
Right.
So, yes, we're in a man-made reservoir. Technically, I'm on his man-made boat. So I wasn't hiking in just pure solitude. But there still was a connection of, this building, that Wade remodeled. Guy named Wade remodeled our office for us. What up, Wade? Jessica, shout out to Jessica, our director, said helped put our studio together here or whatever. Love their hands. They're not God's hands.
Right.
So even that lake and whatever, even on the boat or whatever, to be there, that, morning sun's coming up and we're wakeboarding and surfing and there's play involved. So it wasn't a silent hike, but still there was something that happened in my body, in my soul, that got me more grounded to my authenticity and how God made me, and the clarity that comes with that. Or when I'm a dirt bike guy, right? So when I do get out of my dirt bike, same thing. I'm on my man-made machine, But there's something, grounding and connecting.
And that's something I do when I'm outdoors. Like whenever I get to a peak or a waterfall or like a lake or whatever, is we take our shoes off and we ground ourselves. Like we actually will sit there and do a 5 to 10 minute meditation and just ground ourselves and just let us connect to our mind, body, spirit, to just connect with God. And we'll also listen to, and we've talked about the 1 minute pause app on here, and play that for 5 minutes and just
pause app, Eldridge.
So good. And just spend that 5 minutes of just connecting with God.
God-centered meditation, that app for everyone. It's like, what are you talking about?
And I love doing it in the morning for me because then the rest of my day, there's so much energy that it brings for me. So much of my day changes because I'm able to connect with myself and with God during that time.
So here's a question I have. Why is it painful
to get out? You mean?
Yes.
Like to make yourself go get some nature?
Yes. Not just
because I can work hard for beautiful things.
Yeah, I'm not just saying like it's emotionally painful. Like there's a physical painful to it. Yes. Like if I have to go out and hike, there's like a physical pain. Like I get cold easy, or I get all sweaty, or like I'm just saying, real talk here. Unashamedly, it's hard.
Yeah,
like it's an actual. You want to know the hardest you'll work on a effing family vacation? Camping. Go listen to Jim Gaffigan's whole bit on camping. Happy camper. Have you ever met a happy camper? Right?
He hasn't met me yet.
Yeah, right. Because it's a ton of work. Right. So I'm like, why is it so painful? What's up with the work?
To make it worth it. Like I could go camping all the time and have it just torrential downpour. Still don't care because it's worth it. for the emotional aspect of what it does for my heart and allowing me to connect, yeah, it is absolutely worth going through the pain to be able to get to where I want to be.
I don't know. It sticks. Like it sticks in my head, in my brain. Like
If it's painful,
no, I'm just
Makes it
saying it
memorable?
doesn't matter that it was painful.
Just-
I'm thinking back to my hike. Like I'm not thinking about how tired I was. I'm thinking about the fact that my brain was quiet. I'm thinking about the fact that, like, it was silent. It was beautiful. There was snow. There was nobody there. I can picture that river with kind of this ice sheet over the top of it, but you could still see the water running underneath it. Don't
Really?
even remember that it was hard. That I slipped and fell because it was icy. Like I forgot about that. That's not
Yeah.
the part that actually is sticking with me.
Yeah.
You know.
There's very few hikes that I remember the pain that I was in.
Yeah.
well, and I guess for me, what I'm thinking about on this, as the one who struggles most in this group, I think, with really being in nature, is I think it's like when people show up in one of our offices.
Mm.
We do the shame shadow monster
Sure.
thing,
Yeah.
and that we're like, do the perfect life for us, and they're like, we do positive emotions, negative emotions, and everyone always is like, yeah, I'll be done with therapy when I just feel all the positive emotions all the time. And we're like, how real is that? You ever met that person? And they're like,
Right.
no. And we're like, do you think that's who God is? Just Captain Positive Emotion all the time? And I think that's false. That's a false sense of joy and happiness. And so I think that's because nature's real. It has the positive and the negative poles.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about
It's part of
nature.
its authenticity if you're getting back to,
Mhm.
the processedness
Yeah,
or
because you go into nature and
non-processedness
it's
of it.
like there are trees that are
Sure.
jacked up and fallen, like animals eating it. Like, you want to talk about where animals suffer, man.
Mm-hmm.
In the wild, we're all about, like, only leave animals in the wild. I'm like, cool, so they can starve, die of disease, and eat each other, like that. But there's an authenticity to, I mean, go back to Lion King Circle of Life or whatever, like pain and hardship, difficulty. It's part of what makes anything authentic, right?
Mm-hmm. And worth
Yep.
it.
So you actually have to hike up the mountain to have the experience of,
The mountain.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Drive your car to the whatever peak, it just isn't the same.
Right.
Yep. Like one of my clients, for a long time, she was struggling with a lot of different things. And I'm like, have you tried just to be able to allow yourself to process some emotions that you're dealing with, like big, huge, heavy emotions? Why don't you just drive up the canyon?
Trauma stuff, yeah, right?
Trauma, yeah, totally. And I'm like, have you ever just thought about just driving up the canyon, just getting out and sitting in a chair and just allowing yourself to just be? You don't even have to hike anywhere.
Sure.
I did that before. Like
Yeah.
I remember when I called you one time,
Yeah.
I was so angry and pissed off at my son because he was like he turned 18
Yeah.
and he's like, he was already doing this. I'm 18. I can do whatever the frick I want. And so he
Yeah.
goes and pierces his ear and I'm pissed. And then I'm so angry, I have to leave. And I go up to the mountain so that I could process that emotion, connect with self. And I call James and I'm like, hey, can I come by? And James is like, absolutely. James, I go down to meet with James, and he's like,
Let's go outside.
yeah. We go outside, sit on his patio by the fire pit, and he's like,
And it changed.
why you mad, bro?
Yeah.
And I'm like, good point. Like, and so it's just being outside helps so much. So when my client finally did that, it changed her.
Mhm.
She's like, I felt
Breakthrough
God
experience.
for the first time
Yeah.
when I was there.
Yeah.
And then she started seeing, I'm seeing all these beautiful things now. And I see God every day. This is what you're talking about, Chris. This is totally what you've
Yeah.
been
That's
preaching
the
to me
Chris
for
sauce
Yeah.
right
for
there,
months.
right there. So we all at the end of these live episodes we do the right. So in Living Unashamed, where are we at with this right now? Whatever. But I think the real thing I'd say is wherever you were listening to this episode, you can do a really quick litmus test. Either Chris is full of crap and so's James, or being a slacker like me in this department's a payoff. So what I tell you is, why don't you go live unashamed and try it for your damn self? So what I think you should do is, I think when this episode turns off, which by the way is going to be about right now after I tell you to subscribe and give us a like and donate money. So after I tell you to do all of those things, go turn this off and take 5 minutes to go sit outside in silence, whether it's outside your office building right now, outside your house, pull over on the side of the highway, get out of your car, take 5 minutes right now.
Leave your phone in the car.
Leave your phone in the car. Yes. Leave the phone and all that behind. Stand outside in nature.
Yeah, ideally find a park or
in
whatever,
silence.
right?
Yeah,
But
find a park, hopefully so. But if you can't, just take 5 minutes and just pause long enough, just to notice, not 30 seconds that you called 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and just really notice what happens.
Yeah.
And we'd love to hear about it. So if you go take that 5 minutes outside.
Yeah.
After you've taken your 5 minutes, go back into your car, grab your phone, take a picture, send it to Chris.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That'd
Send
be
it to
dope.
us. We would love to know what you did outside. So send us that picture and let us know what it was like being outside for you. And if you're curmudgeon like me, if you're struggling with it like me, that might work.
Yeah.
These guys, you'll get some hype real stuff. But we'd love to see how you did it and how you tried being outside, how you chose to, live unashamed, right? And really step into either something new or practice works. So send us that picture and tell us what happened. So at Chris, at James, at Steven, at unashamedandafraid.com. Help us with this movement by donating, becoming outsider. Outsiders are those who are bold, accepted, and unashamed. You can donate and get scholarships, unashamedandafraid.com. We are a nonprofit, 501c3, official real deal. And become part of the movement in this message and help us do that by donating to make this happen for more people to reach it and to do more scholarships. Give us 5 stars on iTunes. That's how the world finds us. Follow us on social media at Unashamed and Afraid. Let us know. You can also hit us up on there about your picture and doing it outside in this pause. And until we can meet again, go outside and continue to live unashamed.